The most momentous transfer of wealth ever happened on May 6th, 2010, and it happened twice. The flash crash, so named because the New York Stock Exchange lost $1 trillion in wealth in a matter of minutes. Lost amidst the shares of Accenture, Centerpoint Energy, and Exelon plummeting to a value of a single penny, is that a few stocks actually skyrocketed in price. As many of the world's richest billionaires and institutions saw their fortunes evaporate, owners of Hewlett-Packard and Apple stock became the world's first trillionaires. Steve Jobs himself, in 2010, on May 6, 2010, just after lunch, had a net worth of around $3 trillion. But by dinner time, out-of-control markets had miraculously recovered to near previous levels. The larger trades during this momentous transfer of wealth, during the flash crash, were nullified, and it was as if the whole debacle never happened. At least, the bank accounts barely shifted. It must have been a terrifying time for world leaders on May 6, 2010. Knowing the U.S. government, the military was put on high alert. Suspected terrorists were waterboarded in Guantanamo Bay. And a children's hospital was blown sky high by a Predator missile in Kyrgyzstan. eBay is not all that different from the stock market. eBay has items, not shares, for sale, but the prices still move. It's still lots of individuals buying and selling. On the New York Stock Exchange, it's what stocks do you have. On eBay, it's what have you got in stock. The 2010 flash crash was partially blamed on algorithmic trading. Most of the daily volume on the New York Stock Exchange was then and now is bought and sold using automatic computer programs. eBay itself is not made up of algorithmic traders, but if you said some large sellers on eBay are microcosms of the 2010 New York Stock Exchange, you wouldn't be that far off. In order to have the prices of products at these vulnerable eBay sellers, it's as simple as listing some items you have no intention of selling. The companies buying and selling on eBay are not hedge funds and banks employing experts in data science and artificial intelligence. These are companies that have transformed themselves from brick-and-mortar retail outlets into online marketplaces. The only coders they employ are the people who got them on the web in the first place. Nevertheless, some of these companies have automated the buying and selling of what they have in stock. These companies have coded their prices to follow market trends, just like 2010. The singular name that has been the target of most of the blame for the 2010 flash crash is Navinder Singh Sehro. What he did was complex, but it can be explained quite simply. He found a way to imitate demand without actually committing any money. Typically, demand on stock markets is indicated by purchase orders, which are essentially guarantees that you will purchase stock at a given price. When you buy a stock, you don't actually own it right away. You're telling the stock market to buy the stock for you and then to sell it to you at the price of your purchase order. Navinder Sehro created long backlogs of purchase orders for E-mini contracts, indicating millions of dollars worth of demand that he had no intention of ever filling. The only difference between a typical purchase order and one of Sehro's was that Sehro's could legally be canceled. It was a loophole, and it was a loophole that Sehro used to fake perhaps billions of dollars worth of demand. Sehro found a way to corner markets for particular stocks without having the money to corner these markets. It turns out you can do this on eBay too, and you can do it completely automatically. And by the way, can someone explain to me why the tech company with expertise in artificial intelligence, whose market cap surpassed $10 trillion during the flash crash, was not the prime suspect in the SEC's investigation? On eBay, for any given product, there are a whole bunch of different prices. One seller might sell their brand new toaster in the box for $50, while another seller sets their price at $45 because the box has been opened. Either way, it's the same toaster. Either way, it's the same packaging instructions, the same barcode on the back. The way some very large eBay sellers price what they have in stock is by averaging the prices of similar products on the market, more or less. So if that large automated algorithmic eBay seller is trying to sell that same toaster, their algorithm finds the same products selling for $50 and $45 and might decide to price their toaster somewhere in between, say $47.50. This is not a company with a hedge fund's revenue. It turns out these eBay sellers are actually extremely vulnerable to one singular number. It's called the Universal Product Code, or UPC for short. It's the number corresponding to the barcode on the product's packaging. Scroll through eBay listings and you will find a large percentage include the UPC in the item description because for each UPC, there's only one kind of product, much like how for each book there is only one ISBN. That specific model of toaster, the toaster selling for $45, the one selling for $50, the one selling for $47.50, the reason why the automated algorithmic eBay seller knows they're all the same toaster isn't from the picture or the listing title or anything sophisticated. It's because they all have the same universal product code, the same barcode. And it's because of this that you will be able to appear as if you've cornered the market of thousands of different products. At least to the large automated algorithmic eBay seller, it will appear this way. Let's get to the code. First, we have some imports. You can get the shopping and finding SDKs from eBay's GitHub, and online you will find ample documentation for both. There are quite a few eBay APIs that can give you access to a lot of information and a lot of abilities, but these are the only two we need. Next, import Threadpool Executor, Requests, and Beautiful Soup, which will allow us to download HTML from millions of URLs in parallel. And finally, import Time and Pandas for the database. This line is your developer certificate. It's totally free, and you'll just need an eBay account to be granted these tokens. This next line is the same deal, but under a different account and phone number. I have these lines up here just for cleanliness. Now start screaming. These are all global variables. Deal with it. The initiate data frame function is called in main. It creates a CSV file that will store all your millions of products to peruse in Excel. I know how scary that looks, that a simple exception will overwrite all your data, but I can't really think of a way that would ever happen. This function is only really called once, and then each subsequent time you run the program through your command line, the master list will already be there. Okay, next I tossed in the input line, but it wouldn't work, so just input your keywords in this line instead. Feel free to fix the bug. Those keywords get fed to the function yo-yo executor. This function simply iterates over the keyword list, and for each keyword, calls the function yo-yo. This function takes the global variable calls, your developer certificate, and the keyword as its argument. The function yo-yo speaks with the eBay API, and it's written this way in order to get around that pesky API. For each developer, eBay allows 5,000 API calls unless you manage to personally connect with the eBay development team and say pretty please, in which case the sky's the limit. But you're going to be limited to 5,000 API calls because you're not making an app. You're using eBay's API to make web scraping easier. And in each of those 5,000 API calls, you're only allowed to look up 200 products at a time. It's crazy, I know. So you work around this limitation. You make a disgusting global variable called minPrice that will store the highest priced product you have found for a given keyword. You sort your measly 200 entries from price low to high and set the minimum price to your disgusting global variable minPrice. And voila, now you can iterate over all 100,000 entries and you can grab all the information you need. And since you're going to hit that 5,000 API calls pretty quick each day, I included another fun workaround. Simply rotate a new API certificate in when a different disgusting global variable, API call counter, hits 5,000. Now, the only thing we're really after, the universal product codes, are blocked in the API return request. That's right, eBay says in their API documentation that anything in the item description will be returned in your API request, especially if you use the special output selector. But they lied. It returns basically everything minus the UPC. Is this because eBay itself knows the UPC is a vulnerability? Perhaps. eBay's own search tools use UPC codes in order to show you products you want to see. And perhaps the UPC figures into eBay's price suggestion algorithm as well. Anyway, lacking universal product codes, we still have 1 million product URLs and the robust and efficient request library. And by the way, at this point, all your precious data is saved in a measly list of pandas data frames that are stored in a disgusting global variable list.df. Now that yo-yo executor has run its course and has called the function yo-yo thousands of times, we return to main. Finally, your data is saved into a more permanent data frame, albeit without the UPCs. If you have not inputted any keywords, then instead, the program will read your master list data frame and check for any rows where a UPC has neither been found nor searched for. A list of these corresponding URLs that are without UPC will be generated and then passed into a pretty clean URL executor function. URL executor will do a pretty typical internet connection check. There's the disgusting global variable, internet, of course, but other than that, it's pretty normal. The URLs you want to scrape are all queued up, whether you have 10 or 1,000. Threadpool executor parallelizes the execution of the function scrape URL. The function scrape URL, if it cannot reach a particular item URL, grinds the whole operation to a halt by setting the disgusting global variable internet to false, and it goes to sleep for 3 seconds. Once the nap is complete, it pings google.com. If that ping is left unanswered, the slumber continues. You won't be out of luck or sad if you have intermittent internet, only scrape URL will be. While internet is true, scrape URL does what it says it will do and finds the UPC and EAN numbers if they exist, and subsequently stores them in the disgusting global variable scrape list. Returning to main, the map UPC function takes your master list data frame and maps the scrape list of EANs and UPCs to their corresponding URLs. And now finally your data frame is complete and filled with many products and many UPCs. Tomorrow you can use the same keywords, and if there are any new listings, they will be added. You can change the keywords, and those too will be added. With this code, you will have the same information that some very large eBay sellers use to sell what they have in stock. You will have code that can generate pricing distributions for tens of thousands of UPC coded products every week, plus data on 1 million products per week using a laptop and Wi-Fi. These large sellers have hundreds of thousands of listings for thousands of unique products, and they make thousands of new listings each day. And it's vulnerable to market making. Some might have a toaster expert to shrewdly price every single toaster in the warehouse, but you're interested in the companies that have a computer setting the price, the kind of company that might just use 2 data points in order to price their toaster. If you make 10 empty box listings with that toaster's universal product code at drastically lowered prices, you have completely cornered the market, as it appears to the large automated algorithmic seller. It's possible to have the price with just a single copycat listing too. Saro faked demand to corner markets without the money to back it up. You can use fake supply to do the same. Play Navinder Saro's game by selling empty boxes. You probably know the game from when you tried to find a used iPhone. You search iPhone on eBay, sort low to high, and quickly find all the great deals are just empty boxes. Again, the box and the phone have the same universal product code. eBay will ask you what the UPC is when you make a new listing. You can honestly tell them the truth. The barcode is printed right there on the box. And then just make sure you include one simple line in the description: empty box, item not included. Your item listing is now totally legitimate, and because you've included the same UPC as the item in the box, the vulnerable automated eBay seller will not be able to tell the difference between your cheap empty box for sale and their expensive iPhone. They will follow the market trend and drop their price. This loophole's value is compounded by the fact that eBay has granted access to any and all utilities on its website to individuals with developer API tokens. These API tokens are totally free. This means you don't need to click around in a browser creating listings and selling products. The only additional code necessary is to automate the creation of empty box listings, which is easy because you can just download the listing photographs and descriptions from the item listings whose prices you wish to tank. Then you just sit back and wait as thousands, perhaps millions of products with universal product codes being sold by automated eBay sellers drop their prices to follow the imaginary market trend you created. All for free, you'll be able to buy everything these companies have stocked in their warehouses for pennies on the dollar, and they might not even notice. To make the whole thing feel even more like a heist, you could automate selling all these products too, using the same eBay developer's API, and then automatically buy yourself Bitcoin and plane tickets to fly to Singapore. And by the way, copy and paste the code from below in the description. It's not on GitHub because, come on, GitHub is obviously Microsoft's ploy to automate software. And large, automated, algorithmic eBay sellers, consider some word vectorization, some natural language processing. You're selling hundreds of thousands of items with less sophistication than the free price lookup tools you find in app stores. Really, you should probably just give up and let Google, Facebook, and niche small businesses dominate the used goods market, because you're just waiting for Navinder Saro to fake your algorithm into thinking the going rate for your merchandise just got way lower. And one final thing. I don't think you should do a heist. I think the code I've outlined here could be used for a lot of things. You could use it to personally hunt down the best deals on a cordless drill. You could use it to make your own price comparison app. You could use this data collection utility to train an artificial intelligence to identify truly similar products, using universal product codes from trusted sellers as a label for what portions of natural language describe and title the same products. Universal product codes are labels, after all, and because they are so ubiquitous, they're on everything with a barcode, they really can be used as part of a very valuable database for training a really sophisticated deal-hunting artificial intelligence. That's the value I see here, that eventually once we've universally product-coded enough products, we'll be able to hand off that duty to an AI that just looks at pictures and descriptions, not manufacturing part numbers, EANs, and UPCs.